You're up.
Good evening, Director.
Good evening.
Beautiful day.
Yes, it is. Hot day.
Yes. So I just wanted to again express the value of special education, nuts and bolts, meeting, agenda item, something like that. I would hope in that we would know what we're doing and what we've done and our outcomes, over our outcomes and stuff. I think that would be of great value to myself, to other parents, maybe to regular citizens who are curious about where the money goes. But I really think it would be valuable for you folks. I've shared this room with you, you shared it with me for the last 5 years. And in those 5 years, we've never had such a topic. And I think it would behoove the board to be better informed, maybe fully informed. If we could do that, I would love that. Secondly, I would like to start a discussion. Teacher appreciation. Something that we could do as a district from the board level to build better partners with each other and let our partners know that we're with them 100%, and we always have been. I think that's really important. I think coming off of COVID is more important. I mean, I know normally we do that at the school level with principals and such as that, but maybe we could empower those people with the tools to recognize the teachers. Lastly, I wanted to thank Rob for coming. You know, putting your hat, you know, get your name in the hat. I look forward to what you bring to the fold. Other than that, you folks have a good night.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Stacy Burke. Am I pronouncing your last name right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, so I've never been to a school board meeting here. So this is my first time. I would like to address, so I'm sorry if I do something, I don't know if I'm not doing something right, tell me it. So I would like to address the outdoor school situation that Milano Elementary had this year. I wasn't born here in Milano. We moved here when I was 2 years old. I have lived in this area my entire life, and I always thought I'd get away. But when I did get away, I realized the value of this community and how amazing this special town is to me. And so I want to raise my child here, and it's very important to me that we represent and continue to represent the morals and the characters of this town. Now, I have read through the values that the administration, that Moala River School District stands behind. And I feel that this situation, if you guys aren't aware, a biological female was sleeping in the same room with 5th grade boys. My child was one of them. I'm not okay with that. He was incredibly uncomfortable. Now, my child knows that we love everybody. I don't care what nationality, skin color, orientation, whatever you decide you want to be, that is fine. However, there are things that make you feel uncomfortable and things that don't. And I don't let him have sleepovers with his best friend Emma. So I certainly did not think we'd be having a sleepover with a female who was very much dressed like a woman, and a pink and glittery backpack and like pants, you know, bright pink pants. So she identified as a man. She certainly did not show it. I try to respect everybody's pronouns and everything like that because I'm a hairstylist. This is my industry. And we accept people for who they are. I always make people feel beautiful. I did a transgender wedding this summer. I don't care about that. That is not what I care about. I care about teaching my son values and morals, and also keeping him safe. as a survivor of sexual abuse, this is not okay. Our children, my child is my priority. I absolutely should have been told that this was a possibility, and that did not happen. So I am very, very upset, on fire. I was able to write an email to Tony. I've never met you at this point. But I just want you guys all to know that this is absolutely absurd. And the fact that now it's trickling down and the teachers are getting in trouble for calling parents because there were parents who had done more research than I did. I'm a busy woman. I own a business. And so I don't have time to sit down and go through every single thing. I put my son in camps, in sports, in lots of different camps. And to have this experience, he started to say, you know, Mom, the older I get, the more I start getting homesick. Now, I don't think I want to go to camps anymore. Okay. This is a boy who has 2 different homes that he goes to. He's very comfortable having to be in different situations because he has to be. He's gone to camp since he was a kid, different ones. He's gone to OMSI camps, he's gone to church camps. And for him to come to me now and say that, he also had a severe bloody nose. He gets them a lot. And he could not get the male counselor to wake up, and he was so uncomfortable to go to the female counselor that he decided to stick his finger in his nose and try to sleep. And as a parent, I'm like sitting there and I'm like, what if somebody had an actual emergency, a medical emergency? What if he hadn't been able to get his bloody nose to stop? You know, and I'm just like, I do not understand how this was chosen. And the camp director even told me at one point when I was talking to her that the only other option was for them to sleep in the same, in the lodge with 2 other female counselors. What I came to find out was those 2 other female counselors were the teachers of the school that my son has been going to since he was in kindergarten. So the fact that she made it seem like, oh, it's your fault for not being, or like, you know, that I was being a bigot in some way by discriminating against her sex, like that is not the case. It's a safety issue and it should be a parental issue. I should be able to be the one to decide whether or not my child sleeps in the same vicinity as a teenage girl. There are predators out there, I know. And so we need to do a better job. And I'm asking for that. So I am very upset. I'm very upset that our amazing teachers, those teachers are salt of the earth. The Milano school system is my first experience in the public school system here in Molalla, because I went through some of the elementary school here in Molalla and I didn't have a good experience. I got punched on the school bus and I had a really, really mean couple teachers, and my parents ended up putting me through private school. I cannot afford that. I would love to though. I would love to pull my kid out of this situation, but it's not only my decision to make. So let's do better. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, consideration for changing the agenda. Seeing none, we'll go on. Now for new board member oath to office. So you're gonna swear all of us in?
Yes.
Okay.
Or just the new board.
Just the new board? Okay, we're all elected. Yeah, we're not new, but we were all like.
Re-elected.
Re-elected.
New and reelected.
Yeah, we were re-elected, you were new, okay,
Okay, so I'll have you raise your right hand,
okay,
and when I get to the part, I'll have you state your name individually, and
okay.
then I will read the rest. I state your name,
I, Rob Cummings.
Frank Lockery.
Linda Eskridge,
Neil Luke.
do solemnly swear or affirm
Do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
the Constitution of the State of Oregon,
and the laws thereof,
and the laws thereof,
and the policies of the Malala River School District.
and the policies of the Malala River School District.
During my term, I will faithfully and impartially
During my term, I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office of school board member
of the office of school board member
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Thank you. So we're all sworn in now.
We're all official.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, election of board officers.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I nominate Neil Luke as board chair.
okay,
I will second that.
okay. I nominate Linda. Okay.
I'll second that one too.
Okay.
Is
And now, we go for,
Terry online?
is Terry online?
No.
She's not online?
She was online earlier. this week, I just said-
Yeah.
Okay,
Here, let me. Not there.
is she on there now? No, she's not there.
Great, you seconded?
Yeah, second. Just can't make up my mind.
I'd like to nominate Amy McNeil for vice chair.
So wait.
We have to be able to-
Oh, we have to deal with me, yeah, okay. I will get Terry.
Terry's not on.
She's not on, okay, so let's go ahead and do a private vote on a piece of paper.
Got ballots for you. I'll walk around.
Okay.
One piece of paper, and I think what we've done before is if you write the name of the individual for whom you're casting your ballot to the chair, and then hold it, send it down our way. Lori will count them up and announce the totals for each individual.
All right,
Lori, do you happen to have any pens? That's the one thing. Thank you.
There you
That's
go.
the one thing I forgot.
Unless mine runs out, man.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you. Yes. So we're just doing the board chair on this one.
just the board chair, go ahead.
You.
We have a tie, we have 3 votes for Linda and 3 votes for you.
Somebody want to call up Terry too.
I think at the end of the day.
What do we discuss?
This is not a topic that I've ever, a bridge I've ever had across before, and so consulting with OSBA will be my first point of action to see how they would guide. I know that there are members of the board who have context and expertise in Robert's rules We could recess and gather information. We could, at the discretion of the board member, it is not legal for a board member to cast a ballot by proxy or by email. So Terry Stafford would need to join the meeting to cast a ballot.
Yeah.
That's an alternative as well. So I guess I would look to the board for some direction.
I think we could also.
My suggestion is a reballot.
Okay.
Just to see if people want to change.
We'll go with that.
There we go. I just need more paper. And dissolve it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, this time I'm gonna,
If that's
he doesn't have to keep pushing up and giving us more paper. And I can see this is gonna be an ongoing process.
I'll need more paper for the next one.
Yeah.
Sure.
Very good, Doug.
Good.
We have, after the second vote, we have 4 votes for Linda and 2 votes for you.
Oh, brilliant.
Congratulations.
All right, I'd like to nominate Amy McNeil for vice chair.
I'll second. I was gonna second.
Faster.
Do our ballot. Oh, anybody, any other nominations? Okay, so we're all voting for it?
I move for unanimous ballot.
What?
Unanimous ballot for Amy. That could
Okay,
be done as a voice vote or
okay,
hand.
all right, everyone for Amy, raise your right arm. We got it. Amy, raise your right arm. Okay.
You can vote for yourself.
That's right, you certainly can. Thank you. Okay, so she's vice chair. Right, next is board operating protocol. Do we need to read this in?
I think the intention here is this is a product of the board in the past where the board has reviewed this and individual board members and the superintendent have signed off on it for the operating agreement, operating protocol for the leadership team of the district. And it's part of your agenda here this evening for consideration in terms of how you'd like to proceed or modify or change or address this topic moving forward as a board with at least one new board member. And I don't recall when the last time the board as a full, I think it might have even been prior to Amy's joining the board and Terry joining the board, but it's here for your consideration. And that's the purpose. It's really just for your discussion and consideration.
I would like to have
Madam
read
Chair,
them since we do have it.
I'm sure, I actually have a question about this,
Yes.
it's sounding excruciatingly dumb.
Yeah.
Is this the same document that was created the last time I was on the board?
Yes,
Okay, okay.
and it
Yeah.
basically, and so, not fair.
Yes.
But different than some of the other like operating agreement type, this
Sure.
one just takes topics from communication, following chain of command, my governance, understanding and board authority. That just pulls segments direct out of district policy.
Policies.
And those policies are listed there. And so, but yet you were actually on the board when we finally went this route of referring it directly to district policies instead of creating some other document. But yeah. Been around a while. But I don't know that we've reviewed it in at least
It's good to review.
Well, I saw it back then, but
Yeah.
it's been a while.
So since we don't need to read it, you all can read it on your own?
Well,
Or would you like
If
to
there's,
read
if
it?
there's any objection out there, I would just say that I move that we,
Adopt
that
it?
the board together adopt these as a sort of our operating protocol.
Okay, so that's the motion, it's been seconded, any discussion or questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, raise your right arm. And it's unanimous. Any opposed? Huh?
need to be read in the record? Or is it?
She's saying we didn't have to, it's a board operating procedure.
Right.
I would have read it in whatever, if required.
Yep, it's not a resolution, it's stands as.
Okay, all right.
Well, I think we suppose that theoretically all sign it, including the board chair, superintendent.
It is listed here as a resolution.
Is it?
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
then who wants to read it?
Board
I'll read it.
002.
Since I was one.
You want to read it? Thank you. Okay.
Resolution 2023-2024.002, School Board Operating Protocol. Whereas the senior leadership team, which means board and superintendent of the Walla River School District, wishes to enhance teamwork among its members. Whereas a basic foundation of knowledge is vital to the learning and effectiveness of any team. And whereas the board's adopted policies embody the general knowledge and standards expected of all board members every day. Now, therefore, be it resolved that each member of the senior leadership team hereby, individually and collectively, makes a commitment to learning board policies and carrying out these basic principles. On communication, good communication with staff and among the senior leadership team is extremely important. All team members will follow board policy in their communications. Whenever possible, each team member agrees to ask the board chair or superintendent to place an item on the agenda before bringing the item up in a meeting. During meetings, the board will not play to the audience, but will speak only to the issues on the agenda and attend directly to the chair and other team members. Policies BA, board goals, BBAA, individual board members' authority and responsibilities, BDC, board meeting agenda, and BG, board staff communications. Follow the chain of command. While we acknowledge the role of board members to listen to district stakeholders, board members should refer constituents and staff with issues and concerns to communicate those matters directly to the staff person who can properly and expeditiously address it at the lowest level. Board members likewise agree to communicate to the district's organizational chain of command, referring to policies BBF, which is board member standard of conduct, and policy BCD, board superintendent relationship. Exemplify sound governance. The team will, whenever possible, participate in board development activities of the district and the Oregon School Boards Association. Board members will at least annually study and review policies and strategic plans while efficiently and appropriately engaging stakeholders. The board will address its behavior and effectiveness at least biannually through a third-party facilitated self-evaluation process. Referring to policies BHB, board member development, policy BK, evaluation of the board operational procedures. Understand and own board authority. Do not act individually without the full majority consent of the board. Only the superintendent will communicate the official positions of the district and the board, unless the board as a whole has voted to direct otherwise. Board members will not react to impromptu complaints on the spot, but will assure the individuals that the school district will follow up. Once a board vote has occurred, all team members will support the outcome. Policies BBAA, individual board members' authority and responsibilities. Policy BBF, board member standard of conduct, and policy BCB, board officers. Signed this day, 2023.
Thank you. So we've already adopted it, and we'll move on to policy committee membership. Who wants to be on the policy?
Quick question on the last one, we don't have to sign it then?
No, I sign it.
Oh, you, oh, it's just.
Well, actually, the lines on here, Linda, works so that each board member.
Each
Oh,
board
great,
member.
you have it? We can
We
have
don't
it
need to
signed?
do it now.
Yeah, I didn't know if we all needed to sign it, that's why we asked.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, so policy committee membership, who wants to be on the policy meeting? I've been on it. Okay, you, me, who else?
That's the whole reason
I
I,
need one more.
that's the whole reason I.
Terry, yeah, but I don't know if she wants to continue.
So
Not sure.
if there's a need.
Did I?
If there's a need.
Okay, so we're gonna have Chris Lockridge
As the song says, nobody does it better, Craig.
and Rob and myself will be on the policy. We're good. Okay, fantastic. Action item.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve both the June 8th and June 22nd meetings.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor, raise your right arm. Good, it's unanimous. Anyone opposed? Nothing. No extensions. We're good. Okay. Enabling resolution.
Madam Chair, I think this is another one we must read
You
in.
must read it,
And
yeah.
maybe it would be best if I read it before there was a motion, so I
Absolutely.
will read it and then move it. How's
That
that
would be a
sound?
good idea.
All right. This is the resolution 2324.001. It's an enabling resolution. This is a housekeeping procedure that sets up the day-to-day operations and running of the district. As the July 2023 work session meeting, it was moved by, will be moved by myself and seconded by whoever, that'll be filled in. That item 1, the clerk or deputy clerk be authorized to sign district checks, pay salaries, related payment when due. Signature facsimile may be used in lieu of signature. Item 2, 7 p.m., the second Thursday of each month be designated as the regular meeting of the Board of Education. Item 3, Malala branch of Umpqua Bank be designated as the depository for all district funds. Item 4, Brown and Brown Northwest be appointed as the insurance agent of record for the district. Item 5, Polly Rogers and Company, PC, be appointed as the official auditors of the district. Item 6, the superintendent be declared the executive officer / clerk and budget officer with the authority to declare election results. Item 7, Keith McClung be declared the chief business official and per policy the purchasing authority. Item 8, the Malala Pioneer be recognized as the official newspaper for the publication of public notices. Item 9, the clerk or deputy clerk be authorized to pay routine and or utility bills and to pay all bills for budgeted expenses as needed. Item 10, Superintendent Anthony Mann be authorized to offer contracts for hiring and filling positions as needed. Superintendent may officially accept resignations for the board, which will be brought before the board for affirmation. Item 11, the Oregon State Investment Pool will be authorized to invest Wallowa River School District funds as they are available. Item 12, the Computer Share Corporate Trust be authorized as the trustees for the limited tax pension obligation bonds for the district. Item 13, Anthony Mann be designated as the authorized representative in regard to all county, state, and federally funded programs or consortiums that he be approved to spend these funds for the district. The superintendent, or item 14, the superintendent or his or her designee be the hearings officer for the district. Item 15, the superintendent and the chief business official be bonded / insured to meet the required. Item 16, the following employee positions be designated as confidential or supervisory in nature and therefore excluded from the bargaining unit. The superintendent's executive administrative assistant, the board secretary, the executive administrative assistant, HR, payroll specialist, technology supervisor, and facilities supervisor. Item 17, the substitute pay for teachers is $206.35 daily. Item 18, the substitutes for classified employees will be paid step 1 of the lowest pay grade for the position or an amount equal to the state minimum wage. Item 19, The mileage reimbursement rate for district travel is at the current IRS rate per mile. Item 20, student breakfast and lunch prices be established. Elementary breakfast $1.60, Mohawk River Middle School breakfast at $1.85, Mohawk High School breakfast $3, Mohawk or adult breakfast is $3, milk is 75 cents. Elementary lunch is $2.65. Mohawk River Middle School lunch is $3.20. Mohawk High School lunch is $3.45, and adult lunch is $4.35. The district, or item 21, district adopts the offer versus option when serving national school lunch program, breakfast or lunches to all students. Item 22. The board will act as the local contract review board and has adopted the Oregon Attorney General's Model Public Contract Rules, OR Chapter 137, Division 046 through 049, and portions of the Oregon Department of Administrative Service rules governing public contract exemptions. OR Chapter 125, Divisions 246 through 249. Item 23. The Hungerford Law Firm will be appointed as legal counsel in matters of district business, and the law firm of Garrett Herman Robertson will be appointed as legal counsel for the district in personnel matters. Madam Chair, I so move this resolution.
Okay,
Second.
moved and seconded. Any questions or comments?
Quick question, if there's something on here, like say one of these particular businesses is not gonna be around and that goes away, do we have to change that on this later or?
Yeah, we'd have to change it
Okay.
then.
Okay,
Usually we have an updated amendment to it.
yeah, because there's one business on there in particular that I've heard is gonna be the this, so,
Oh,
yeah, and it's not one that's super huge, but
but it's gonna affect this.
it could.
Okay, so we'll have to do an amendment later.
Okay.
Thanks, Rob. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, raise your right arm. Okay, it's unanimous. All those opposed, 0. And there's no abstention.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the personnel report as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions?
I just want to comment, Madam Chair, that I see some interesting names on this personnel report. People who are coming or going with, kind of makes me a little happy for them and sad for us,
Yeah.
stuff like that. On the other hand, maybe some happy for them, happy for us. That's the most. I appreciate everybody's service to the district, for sure.
Me too. Okay, all those who approve this personnel report, raise your right arm. Unanimous. 0 opposed, 0 abstention. Strategic planning, final recommendation. Would that be Tony that's gonna get this?
Yeah, just a brief summary for the board. You'll recall that we brought before the board the recommendations, of the community advisory strategic planning team, which met for the better part of the school year together with the direction of student education facilitator and consultant. And they presented the material, which was their summative report at the last meeting. As part of that summative report are 2 key elements: the recommended mission vision statements, redefining and placing in stone our mission vision. A lot of community voice helped shape that. If you recall, I believe it was over 1,300 different touches by community members that provided feedback in focus groups as well as surveys. Business leaders, parents, faith community leaders, students were all involved in forming that work. And then the 5 pillars with the goal statements. And as Cassie pointed out, the next step will be for the administration to articulate goals organizationally throughout all of our school districts that align with these pillars. And we'll be developing a scorecard for each of those goals to report back on a regular basis to the board. That's the work that's going to happen this fall. And it all comes back to this being the starting point. appointments. So you'll recall Cassie, or Casey, our facilitator, together with those who participated on the committee, brought their report. And my recommendation is that the board consider acceptance of that full report that you received last month and adoption of the proposed mission and vision and recommended pillars or goal statements, or some modification thereof. Again, the work of this committee had lots of touches. Their recommendation is adoption as presented. That's my recommendation as well, but it is the board's pleasure to adopt such matters. So it's before you this evening as a possible action item.
Okay, so you need us to adopt, to recommend pillars and goal statement from this.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I move that we accept the strategic plan recommendation.
okay. Been moved and second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Yes.
So I know you're talking about in the fall working on the scorecard and how it's gonna look. And you're gonna bring it back to the board after that for approval, or just kind of, this is what we're doing?
So our work with education, this was just the beginning of it. We're in a multi-year process with them and their work. We'll guide them but I can't speak for what their best practice will look like. I have a hunch that your board new agendas and reports from directors and or principals will all directly connect with those scorecards. So when you see a report, it'll connect back to a measurable goal that was presented by the board and eventually, accepted by the board. So back to your question, yes, we'll bring those scorecards, those goals to the board for an opportunity to review and or recommend modifications to before we start going full, full on all.
Yeah.
So. Mr. Mayor, if we were to look at this as some sort of a roadmap, if you will, you're looking at this as being essentially a guiding document for all the work that takes place down the road with respect to creating, I would say, metrics for the district and the staff and the students. If we have all that kind of stuff. So, am I going too much into that, or?
Well said. I think you said it very clearly. I was happy to sort of cover. Yeah, clear measures.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt the strategic plans recommended for 2023. Yeah.
No, it's not here. I'm gonna call for a vote.
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor, raise your right arm. And it's unanimous. Anyone opposed? Zero abstention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I really think this is an opportunity for our district to be really clear about what the North Star looks like. What are we about? Where are we headed? And in fact, the community was involved. I think it's exactly the way good
That's
organization.
what we needed to do in the first place. Okay, surplus item. I need a motion.
I move to accept the items being presented.
Okay. Been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Seeing none. Okay, all those in favor, raise your right arm. Okay, it's unanimous. No one opposed, no abstention. Okay, we're in for information and discussion. Isn't that Kathleen?
The first information discussion item is mine.
Oh, it's yours. Oh, okay.
Mine.
All right.
High school
Oh, I
open
see.
campus.
Open campus, got it. Oh, yes, that. Okay.
So thank you, Chair Etheridge and directors. You'll note that there was no pre-reading or pre-review of any material for you here this evening. My intention here is to bring to you an early report on a topic that the board discussed and addressed back in 2019, well before the COVID-19 pandemic. And what I'd like to do is provide you with a broad overview time and return to your work session with some more specific thinking and data analysis. So that said, let me dive into my comments to be glad to get any questions that you have. In October of 29, in October of 2019,
Jeff, that's some years.
there was an initial presentation, those who were on the board at the time are called that, which field our president is a tremendous speaker and leader.
Yeah.
Brought a proposal before the board requesting that the high school campus be open for lunch. And it was in several meetings following that, at the direction of the board, of the student body leadership. Emily Mendoza being the vice chair, together with the vice president, together with Natalie as the president, they brought back a report that included survey data from parents, from community members, from students, from businesses in town, their thoughts around whether or not they would support an open campus. Again, this was really a student-led initiative. There was in January of 2020, and so you turn the corner on the calendar year anyway, but it's still that same school year. There was a presentation with that survey data, and there was a motion at that time to approve the open campus proposal. One of the proposals that had been presented, there was some initial discussion at the board, and there was concerns that were surfaced by board members at the time. Concerns regarding safety and security, concerns regarding attendance, and our kids could get back to campus in time. There was, I think it required a motion, right? So you guys will correct me on Robert's rules, but there was I think a motion and a second and a vote to postpone that discussion. So no action was taken that evening, and the conversation continued. The student body leadership brought back, I think, some more data. At the February 27th work session, they brought additional information back regarding their thoughts on safety. Brad Brzezinski, the principal at the time, again, expressed concerns around it. So yes, board members did, but all very thoroughly hearing these great student leaders present something that they looked at thoroughly. It was at that February 27th meeting in 2020 that the board took action to approve a pilot look at this. And it was less than 4 weeks later that public education shut down.
Yeah.
So, and that pilot was planned for the spring of 2020, and it did not occur, did not take place. You know, in talking with Natalie at the time, she really felt it was important to have student body voice represented. She was indifferent herself on open campus, but she felt her job was to represent her constituents. Did a great job presenting. I don't need to repeat a whole bunch of what the following school year looked like, but just walking through the timeline so that as a board you see what I've looked at and look back. The 2021 school year was entirely distance learning, so that next school year was entirely distance learning. Of course, the students didn't forget there was this commitment to an open campus. Wow, that whole time, right? And wouldn't. In the 21-22 school year, we returned, late the prior year, we returned some in-person learning. It was sort of, we were doing a hybrid approach, and then that following year, in 21-22, we had all students present, boots on the ground, first day of school in our schools. Return to in-person learning with masks, with lots of attention paid to mask-related issues and other staff and community-related concerns on a variety of topics. You want to call a comment in your board meetings, topics like food quality in our schools, public use of the land lab for homeschool students, masks, health matters, state law versus local control, food quality, masks. I mean, so the list goes on. There's a lot of intense conversation that the community was having at the time. And I'll take responsibility for, at that time, not bringing back with all that was happening. And say that was an excuse, but I'll take responsibility for not bringing back to the board any data on the impact of an open campus for high school students during lunch during that first year of return to in-person instruction. So I didn't bring any data back, but I am bringing back data to you here, looking back at this year as an extended pilot. And I've got some concrete information that I'd like to share with you tonight and kind of give you an indication of where I'm going and what I want to present at your work session. At the macro level, tonight, and again, the more granular level, some data at the work session. The macro level tonight, if we look back to the year prior to the shutting down in COVID, our students were attending school with 89% average daily membership. So on any given day of the school year, there might be 11% of the student body absent. That's within a normal range for high schools. Is it where any of us want to be? It's never where we want to be, and a lot of attention was paid to attendance. And then next year there was an attendance uptick. We hired a student success coach in the high school. We put some efforts into how do we engage more kids. In addition to having quality instruction, are there things we can do that next year? I can't say that there's a statistically significant connection, but we saw an uptick. We had 91% of our students attending in terms of the average daily membership those first 2 terms prior to school closing for the pandemic. During the pandemic, you'll recall that attendance taking was very different. So I'm not going to look at those percentages. I'm just looking at in-person instruction. So 89% in the year prior to the pandemic's launch, the first 2 terms, the pandemic beginning, 91, 89, 91%. This year, if we look at the average daily membership at our high school, we're at 84%. I'm concerned about that. Do I think that the open campus is a sole contributor? I do not. I think the world is very different today in terms of kids and their experiences and their expectations, their needs. And we're going to need to really seriously think about how do we redefine public education in a way that makes it really compelling for our students to want to be here every day. And that's work that we'll do. But I am a firm believer, however, that there is a connection with some of that at our open campus. Let me talk with you anecdotally about what I mean. That 84%, by the way, means that on average, 9 full school days in that school year were missed, compared to the previous year at 91%. That 7% ADM is 9 full school days on average per student that were missed this last year when compared to pre-pandemic. So again, I am concerned. The anecdotes that I would offer, and we're going to look a little more carefully at the data between now and our work session, is that a lot of the absences were in the second half of the day. I will tell you that as a superintendent, for the last 11 years, there was a visible notice every time I visited the high school, the number of students that are in the parking lot, for either returning or arriving. And my conversations with the high school administration were talking with me about how this is. What I heard from Dr. Atherton and confirmed by Brad Brzezinski prior to him is that the circumstances in our community are such that when students leave, they got to travel quite a distance to get down to some kind of food and get back. So there's some travel time that's built in there. It's going to make kids late, and then kids are kids. If choosing, am I going to go back late, or am I walk in embarrassed, or am I just not going to go back today? I can't speak for students, but I know that there would have been a day or two where I would have not gone back to high school. There are also a lot of distractions that take place that I don't need to specify what those are, but that make for unsafe situations for kids, whether that's driving or substances in those hours when they step away from school. I don't have concrete data to share with you, but tonight, but I believe that when we do share the data, we'll see that there's a significant uptick in the percentage of students that were at our high school, either in possession or under the influence of substances this last school year when compared to the pre-pandemic. Is that all due to open campus? Probably not. Is it happening in all other districts as I talk to other superintendents? Yes. I think the impact of the pandemic and mental health and substances is something that we're all, community-wide facing. But I'm looking at that 9 more days of school on average lost for every student in high school. And thinking to myself, is there something we can do in the campus situation? Again, Dr. Atherton and Brad Brzezinski before him saying, we don't have, and nor will we ever have staffing to check and make sure that every student who's walking out the door has submitted parent permission. And they have appropriate status as a junior and senior. There's not enough manpower to be checking all of that. Does that sound like an excuse? I think it's just a reality that I don't have a solution for right now. To say that we've got another way to approach that. The downside to absenteeism has always been, my experience as an administrator, should I suspend a student who's not coming to school? Right, that just reinforces the behavior, right? My experience with assigning punitive consequences for attendance is not a winner. To assign students to go to Saturday school to make up missed absences. My experience has been that does not change behavior. What changes behavior is when a school is so compelling and the relationships they have with their colleagues and the teachers and instruction in the classroom, they want to get back to school. It's really important to them personally, and always working on that. The fewer opportunities we can give them to choose between that compelling instruction and some other enticing distraction, I think we need to consider. And so I'm going to bring some more data back to the board at your next meeting and look carefully at whether or not there is a connection, a greater connection to the afternoon periods when kids are absent. We may, at this moment tonight, I'm really signaling that I would like to engage the board in discussion and in response to a recommendation I would plan to make that we begin this school year. We return to a closed campus status at our high school. We may want to consider if we go that direction, some other iteration of this down the road. Right now, I think safety and absences are really a big concern that I have, and that is a recommendation I think I want to bring to your next meeting. Someone did say to me, gosh, why would students want to stick around for our school lunches? That was actually something I heard as I was talking about this. And that was not lost on me. I want to speak to that if I may from this moment too, because this board was really bold in saying to Sodexo, our food service provider, at contract renewal time, is that we really expect to see a stepped up game when it comes to the presentation of food, presentation environment in the cafeteria generally. Some board members at the time said, we eat with our eyes, so the food needs to be appealing. And so I think Sodexo is prepared to respond to that. My expectations is in our regular monthly meetings, which I told the board I would be doing with Sodexo together with Keith, is to say, we've got to make this food so compelling that again, together with compelling instruction, kids are wanting to be here at school. Be glad to respond to any questions you have, but I really just wanted to signal an early intention that I'm going to be digging more into the data, and I'm likely to recommend closing the campus.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What?
Very excellent information. It's one thing I do wonder about though, in what you said was, we will never have the resources to be able to check, to make sure those students who are leaving are supposed to be students who are leaving. How is that going to be any different if there's a closed campus? Because I'm going to assume that even with a closed campus, there is some authorization process such that some students are still allowed to be, let's say, maybe do class elsewhere, or to go home to take care of grandma. I mean, whatever it is. I know that at many schools, even when they have a closed campus, there are certain parental provision for the so I mean, how do you check that such that you can improve the attendance? And maybe I should just shut up and listen to you say that at our next meeting with them. I'm curious.
Yeah, I think it's a reasonable question. We'll give it some more thought between now and our work session. My initial thought is just the volume of students is much lower when they're heading to the doctor's appointments. help, grandma take care of an issue or those kinds of situations. And the volume of students that are walking out that door at any moment in the day.
Thank you.
Currently.
Now, you did or did not have data on how many students left and how many of the absenteeism was that higher after lunch?
So we have access to those data, and that'll be part of what I intend to bring back to the work session is a more granular look at the data. Just big broad brush to say kids were 7% more likely to miss school this last year than pre-pandemic was the big picture I want to share tonight.
Yeah.
But I will break out more details.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no, lunch at school is a heck of a lot cheaper than it is in town, I can tell you that. Can we come to the school for lunch?
Yeah. You have to spend money. You don't think it's about $4 and.
Well, that's about half the price of what it is at McDonald's or Subway or anyone else. So,
It is cheaper, a lot cheaper.
but I understand, I mean, when I was in high school, we had a closed campus here and there may have been some of us that, left during lunch and went and grabbed stuff and came back. But I mean, we came back too, so I don't know what, that's why I was curious about that. If the absenteeism was higher after lunch, if those kids were to say, screw it, we're not coming back and that kind of stuff. I'm assuming also, with there is, kids that do that have a parent sign a waiver saying they could leave, okay.
Yeah.
And saying that they're legally, not. Our school district is not liable for them if something happens to them while they're off campus. I'm assuming it's what that whole issue is.
Yeah, we did talk about that because that was a question the board asked when considering this originally, the pre-pilot. What about liability? And our liability insurers shared with us at that point in time, every step we can take at prior written notice.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. At the end of the day, however, it's not going to mitigate the possibility that we would be named in a lawsuit if a student were to be during lunch.
Now, what's that pilot just for juniors and seniors?
Yes, yes, and again, that's a piece where I'm hearing from high school administration to differentiate at first blush, from a campus monitor standpoint or just awfully difficult. Yeah, I'll go back to Craig's question. I'll give some more thought to that good question about, is it a resource? Is it really something that's not resource, where there's no resource solution? I'll bring back some more thinking on that at your next meeting.
Maybe bringing some food trucks like the high school for that. I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, not everybody, but if they're looking in the town and buying stuff, it's costing them more anyways. We used to have a road that sat out in front of our high school, my freshman or sophomore year. And they came, because we didn't have any kind of food program here at the school at all. They taken it out and they got it back like junior year, but had a road coach that came out and parked out in front of the school, and man, they did a good business, so.
Thank you.
Next up
Thank you, Tony.
is Jurassic Parliament. What is that word say?
Parliamentary training.
Parliament training, okay, we got that training from Ann McFarland, and we have this workshop designed to help us become more effective as a board. And we need to consider whether we want to adopt common guidelines as a group and make a commitment to follow them. There's no action required tonight. Yes.
Madam Chair, as a board, are we planning a board development session? Usually we do,
Yeah.
especially if
We
we
can
members.
talk about it here.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
and but we need to get that on the schedule, board development. On the schedule.
So Mark, is your question related to the sort of parliamentary procedure?
Yeah.
Yeah, this would be a good thing to talk about. You know how we'll get together for like a day.
Uh-huh.
I don't see it on the agenda. Why this is on?
Well, the word is cut off on my computer, so I couldn't read it.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's under high school open campus.
yeah, it's right under the high school, open campus, it's 2H2. It's Roman numeral,
Summary for work session July 13th.
Okay,
yes,
so as far as adoption of parliamentary procedure, it's specified in board policy that it is adopted. Am I assuming though that these potential practices that are highlighted is what you're
Yeah.
wanting to know, to want to consider? Yeah. Motion, I suggest we talk about it further.
Okay, you wanna talk about it further right now?
No, I'll talk about it further.
At our board session, okay, we'll go ahead and get that scheduled. Okay. Next, facilities deferment maintenance report. Hey, Tony, sometime you're up.
Good evening, members of the board, Robin, Tony, Gianno, facility maintenance supervisor, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Yeah. A few things on the menu tonight. As you guys know, we had done a parking lot lighting upgrade, last year. I got an email on Friday, from Oregon Department of Energy. This is the stuff I kind of like to bring to you guys. The total cost of that lighting upgrade was $5,590. We did get an Energy Trust incentive of a big whopping $425. But the good news is we got to tap into the SB 149 funds with a reimbursement of $5,165. So there's a total net cost of that project of $0 to the district. So all new LED.
You do great work.
Yeah, try to claw when we can. I'd like to kind of talk about unexpected things that happen. I know, we have priorities that I do through the year. So if you look at your board report, you can see we have new planned maintenance, planned capital projects, and of course our summer inspections we do every year. There's a few things that come up like really in the last couple of weeks. We had our well pump at Clark's finally expired. I believe it was a 1993 pump, so we got 30 years out of that pump. It has now been replaced by Westerberg Drilling. Again, an unexpected cost that we didn't see coming. The office heating and air conditioning at Clark's expired. Again, another unexpected expenditure. Rural Dell office, unexpected heating and air conditioning failure again. So we're starting to get to where we have so many units that, of course, are from the early 90s. The high school I'm really worried about being boilers from the 1970s, 77. We've replaced 1 out of 12. Again, they're not cheap. So, and I kind of like to piggyback on what Mark said about citing at the high school at the last, where do we prioritize? Where, I know we have the Winahop group come in and they do a facility assessment, tell us the conditions of our buildings, but who is that guy that knows where the priorities lay or where this gets planned out through the year? It's me. So, I jot down things almost daily on what our daily tasks are. Those things change daily. But to let you guys just know, with all this plant stuff that we do, we will check everything off the list, but then there's some things that I can't really spend. Kind of like what I've been doing every year with getting a rural Dell roof replaced at the end of the year. Almost $40,000. The dishwasher, we actually got a dishwasher installed at the middle school, had to be replaced. I know we don't really want to spend money at the middle school, but when we took that thing out last week or 2 weeks ago, the installers were taking pictures of the dishwasher because it was so old that they had to share it to all the other guys saying, you've got to see how old this dishwasher is. So with those 2 items being over $70,000, it kind of helps, me prioritize kind of at the end where I maybe don't spend something. So I think it's working out pretty good. July 12th, Monday, we've got a siding replacement on the east side of Malina Gym. Yeah, I just want everybody to know that, just trying to be good stewards of the taxpayers' money and where it is going. I obviously own a home and I treat these buildings, I think, since I've been here for 10 years. I told you and the board that, it's kind of where I take my priorities, just like I do my house, whether it's roofing, siding, gutters. I mean, you name it, it's somewhere it's on a list, so those priorities sometimes can change and yeah, so have I do the board.
What was the total cost of all this unknown cost? for all?
So the Clark's, heat pump replacements are right around 10,000, same thing with Rural Dell, the Clark's pump replacement was at 7,000.
And what's the other one? You had two things.
The dishwasher, I believe, was 38,000, yeah, it's when I mentioned that to folks, they really just.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is, and that's on a state contract, getting the best rate through what we use is Curtis Restaurant Equipment, Portland. Malino, that's the last dishwasher we're putting in, we can't really put it in until summer school's out, so that's actually scheduled the first week of August when school gets out, so then Malino will have a brand new dishwasher. Not as expensive, it's a lot smaller, kind of like Rural Dells. So yeah, then the district will have all brand new dishwashers, that's obviously if they need to be replaced. Rural Dells was 1963, replaced last year. So we're getting a lot of life out.
Why did you point at me? Come on.
I always think of Rural Dell, I think of the Lucy, so yeah, I think of Clark's, I think of Craig, and so yeah. So.
That's a lot of life.
I guess the barriers for the siding, just as an example, is it that the staff is working on higher priorities based on, priority, or is it funding? If we wanted to break that one loose and get it, do we have an estimate for that?
We do not.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do not have any estimates on the high school side.
So it's just a matter of a higher priority.
Correct.
And
You know,
the gating factor can be resource or money or both.
both.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the Malino siding on the east side of the gym, it needs to be replaced before some stuff on the high school side. So yeah, that's kind of where I prioritize it, it being in the buildings and being outside on the roofs every day, 5 days a week. I think I know the priorities in this building probably more than anybody. So I just looked at the board trust, my decisions and where the money goes, and working with Keith has been great, and Rick Gill in the past, Mr. Dan. And, again, one of the things on the list that we did complete, just completed to see is linoleum in the new wing, single restrooms. All the linoleum around the floor drains were peeling. It was becoming a trip hazard. We did new walk-off mats in the new wing because, those floor tiles and the walk-off mats were peeling up, again, trip hazards. The last thing I want is somebody to trip, break an arm over a loose piece of linoleum, so. And I'll present all this next month. I've got photos of everything. I didn't get a chance to get a lot of those photos because it's got written up, before I could actually take some of the pictures. So the siding and everything else, you'll have a big full list of photos of seeing why and when. But yeah, so like I said, student staff safety, we don't want so many trips. So there's so many variables, those kind of stuff. Yeah, any questions?
I don't anymore. Anybody else? Thank you so much. Good job. Now financial reviews. Reggie.
The board chair,
Yeah.
Show us the money.
Yeah.
We did that at 6:15. Couple of updates. We're kind of right in the middle of 2 fiscal years. The auditors left about 3 hours ago for the week, so the audit's underway. Just an interim, and so they'll probably wrap up in October. And we should have an audit report by the end of the year. So everything is on par. And then for 23-24, none of this should be a surprise. The legislature did pass the 10.2 billion for the budget. One thing to note is the 49-51% split that ODE does. And so that 2% is designed to capture cost increases in the second year. So that's why it's split, or that's why we will get more money the second year than the first.
I'm wondering that.
And then student success and high school success, I don't expect any material changes in the funding there, but we'll know by the end of August what those dollars will be for certain. And then this is the last year of the CARES Act, or ESSER 3. And so we have about $1.1 million remaining in those funds. And those have to be spent by September 30th, 2024. The bottom half of my report is just for information purposes only. Legislature did capture new construction excise tax rates that we can, there's a maximum that we can go to. In the past, though, the board has kept those rates steady with the 1920 square for pricing. And there was another attachment with the report, I guess got that, the school construction excise tax limits. It basically outlines what we can charge this year. But again, the board elects to use the 1920 rates. Any questions or comments?
Anyone? Oh, okay.
I guess I have a comment.
Yeah.
I think relooking at those excise tax rates is something the board needs to do that's more of a comment board leadership. to Bring on to the agenda.
That's great. Okay.
Rob, welcome.
You didn't hear what you said. Neil. Go ahead and repeat it from.
Yeah.
No, just that those review of the construction excise tax rates.
We need to review.
Need to be something like for leadership and fact.
Yeah.
On the agenda.
Thanks, Laura. Appreciate it, Keith. Okay. Now teaching and learning, Kathleen. I'm trying to get you in there.
Yes, I heard that.
I know.
That's all right. Good evening, directors.
So this evening, I just have two topics and they're pretty celebratory. I mean, summer school's rocking and rolling. We have 316 participating students. Swimming lessons is part of that program, as well as I've talked about science, STEM, hands-on learning. And I think everybody's having a great time. Field trips to Silver Falls and other fun adventures. So it's really a great opportunity. I try to remember, I've done site visits to each of the summer school campuses and just reminding everyone that, you know what, part of it is just to have fun. Because some people take it a little seriously. I'm just saying, you guys, it's okay to have fun. We do our academics in the morning and then the sciences and the hands-on in the afternoon.
So we continue to offer summer school to all of our children across elementary schools.
Oh, yes.
Not just for all elementary school. There was a time when it was just for all.
It's really grown.
Wanted
Yeah,
to ensure that we made it available to any student from any school.
right.
Are we offering it to middle school and high school?
Middle school, yes.
Yes,
High
but not-
school, yes. The concern is, right now, when I say high school does their credit recovery, so they do have that in the summertime. That's a standing program. We have ninth grade academy as well on the books, and we're gonna work on that a little bit, and that's when they let incoming freshmen. They get, I'm not entirely certain what, it's a week or 3 to 4 days, where they get to come in and they get to see, how does high school work? What is it like to be a high school student and teaching all of those things? So,
But there is no real high school, summer school, where
no,
they go for a couple of weeks or close to a month of time to recover the credit.
oh, yes, the credit recovery, we call it credit recovery, yes, yes.
So they go for
That's
how
the
long?
standing one. That one lasts, I'm gonna say, maybe it's a 4-week program. Yeah, I let the high school kind of runs that. Yeah. So any other questions about summer school program? All right, I'm gonna move on to not only our students learning, but our teachers are learning. This August, we have a packed month of learning for teachers. And of course, a lot of it we can't require, but people are signing up and it feels really good. Teachers they want to learn, and that is a great sign. So it's open, these various opportunities are open to K-12 teachers. Not all of them pertain to the grade level. So the first thing we'll have going on, and actually this is our in-service week. As you know, we have our new math materials as well as our EL materials. So teachers who will be teaching those subject areas will be working with the publishers, learning how to navigate the digital components to the curriculum. That's a big deal. And this curriculum is fantastic, but to really be sure you're using all of those components, it takes a little training. Our integrated project-based learning, the work with Defined, I'm excited. We have 23 participants who are gonna learn how to work this platform, and of course, administrators will be alongside, and that's in August, so I'm pretty excited about that.
The focus of that work being on developing teacher leaders. So those are 23 volunteer teacher leaders coming. They want to get on the front end of this. And again, it's a resource and tool. We talked about that being an arrow that we want to give every teacher access to. So we launch all district access in the fall. This is the 23
Right.
early adopters.
Early adopters, people that we could count on as being leaders, that's what we're after. So, and that 23 includes not just teachers, but administrators as well. So it's a mix of that, but our high school through elementary, we're all represented there, so. And then we also have a formative assessment boot camp that's going on. That's for elementary. Formative assessments, or how do you design a quick check so you can monitor students' progress? And we're really working on that. Our edX coaches are providing that for us. And then, the last thing, it's kind of the icing on the cake for me. 4 elementary teachers were selected. One of them is Patrick Duty, the one that came and presented. The STEM students did the robotics. So I have gotten one great teacher out of each of our elementary schools to be trained in something called SpheroBots. And because they're willing to do this, they get access to these robots. The kids get to do coding, and it's in their classroom. So, and it's mostly 4th and 5th grade teachers. So it's 4 of them. I'm excited. I want them to see what they can do in their classrooms, and we'll come and we'll share with you. And I'm looking forward to that, because I really like that. I mean, obviously STEM is a part of what we've been talking about, pathways and helping students realize what they could be. So we're going to really push for you. All right. All fun and good. Any questions? Yes, Amy.
So who are they getting the STEM training from?
So, I'll back up a little. There is an organization called Todos Juntos. Todos Juntos won a grant from the STEM Hub, which is connected to ODE, and they are giving our district, they're not giving us the funding, they're using it to provide the services, so it's about $19,000. So the STEM Hub is providing the training to us, and these are trained people in that SpheroBot. It's the skill set, so you have to have it also. Yeah.
Does that go towards their learning? The teacher learning?
Professional, right,
Sorry.
yes, they could get PD, what we call PDUs, and that keeps their license going, yeah.
And that can go toward that.
Yes, yes, and they also are gonna get access, as I said, to the robots themselves, which are very expensive. And then there will be other access to technology that we haven't always been able to offer. They're trying to work on a set of iPads, because that's how you code. You could also use our Chromebooks. It's a little more challenging, but yeah, so it'll be great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Next is student services.
Director Show is not able to be in the meeting this evening. She does have a 2.5 page or 2.25 page report. I'd be glad to answer questions if you have.
I have a few questions. I just need to look at. Okay, restraint and seclusion data submission. I'm not aware of any restraint and seclusion that we have here.
Yeah, so there's a report required by the Department of Education every year that anytime a student is restrained physically for safety reasons, then a report be generated. That report follows a very specific procedure for debriefing that safety event and why a student needed to be restrained. The NCI training that you see referenced later on that same page is to ensure that if a teacher or staff member ever needs to physically restrain a student for safety purposes, they're really clearly trained how to do that. And if we do ever have to, then we need to report that to the state. And so what Robin is saying here is that we've submitted that data as required. We also, I think, bring to the board each year in part of the special education report, a report specific to this topic. I think that takes place in May, but please do not quote me on that. I guess I want to just confirm when we bring in our streets.
So have we ever had an instance that would require or did require a restraint?
We have, unfortunately, we did a student that that require specially designed instruction and personal behavior plans to support them in the context of living in community. Students who, because of reasons outside their control, because of an identified disability, they may at times place themselves with others in harm's way, and our job is to protect all. So that's why that's there. I do not believe our district is one that well, let me back up and re-say this. Our district has never been in a position where I had concerns about our use of restricted seclusion. There are districts that may look at this a little bit differently. There are districts that have as part of their going down a rabbit hole here, but it's part of the plan, a seclusion space to give, and we do not, it's not something our district practices. So if there's a restraint, it's done in full view of others.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, I'm good. I'm moving on, superintendent's report again, Tony.
I think all I would add here tonight is it was a lot of fun this morning to be at the Chamber of Commerce meeting with Directors Eskridge and McNeil. And we shared with the Chamber of Commerce on 4 different topics on the strategic plan and mission, vision, and pillars. Our work and ideal athletic program, our work. Again, this is all about board leadership, the board's leadership in pre-bond planning, community engagement in that space. There was a 4th topic.
We didn't do the.
We did not touch on the 4th topic. That was me. I was going to speak to food service. We ran out of time.
We were kind of shortening the
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
It was a lot of fun to be at the chamber, and I welcome board members, anyone want to attend a chamber meeting with me. My ask of Jill, the office administrator for the chamber, was that we have a chance to come back in October, November, and provide the group report on those same topics.
I really enjoyed them. They were wonderful, so inviting, yeah, and Mitch Kraft did the athletic presentation. So,
We're gonna do the same. We're developing a relationship with the senior center, so I've gone to the senior center a couple of times to update them on what's happening in the district, make sure that seniors are participating in our surveys, have access to participate in our surveys. And if a board member wants to go with me to the senior center to report on these same topics at any point in time and just be available to the senior center folks, welcome. Any good members who want to join me on that too.
got me. Anybody else want to go to the senior center? Rob, you want?
I don't know.
Okay.
Can I make a point on that? I was actually personally asked by Dan Huff if we would also have that kind of communication with our city council. And if we could, we were talking after one of the meetings that he's like, that's been kind of an issue with the city and the school board. There's been kind of a disconnect, and he would love to have that kind of communication also with them. If we would go and make the report, and I said, yeah, I'll say something about that.
Yeah.
You know, we could look at that too. So,
I've definitely wanted to talk to Scott too, the mayor. You know, he endorsed me for the school board.
Yeah.
Wonderful guy. He doesn't even know me. So, I'm getting off the subject.
I got him on speed now, so. Go ahead, Amy.
All right. All right, Amy.
I just wanted to bring up the OSBA conference. I know
Yeah.
you and I are going. Is that still open for registration?
It's.
August 3rd too, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, up through August 30th, you can still register?
August 3rd, yeah.
Okay.
I might go, it's in Salem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the, I can't go Friday, but I can go Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in Salem. It's so much closer to Bend. So no motels. That was nice. That's why I went mostly for the motel. I like the motel and the free food.
I'm excited
I learned a lot.
to learn a little bit and be around other board members.
Yeah.
I know there's like a superintendent.
Oh,
portion of
it is
as well,
a ton of
so I'm
talking.
looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
yeah. You'll love it. You really will. You'll learn so much.
Thanks, Rob, for sharing that you had that conversation.
Yeah.
I was at the city council meeting a couple months back, as the city council recognized one of our teachers who was recognized as teacher of the year and spoke to city council at that. I don't know, I think if the city council was ever interested in a report, we stand ready to bring an administrative report. We would get out semi-regularly as it probably monthly, but if there were an clear agency desire to have elected officials reporting back to each other, I don't know if that's where you were going, but.
I think that was kind of what his idea was. So, and it was just kind of a conversation in the parking lot, and just that, hey, this would be cool to have that kind of communication between us, know what's going on here, we know what's going on there, work together type of thing. So,
The board was talking about, you need to get out more and visit, people, more organizations.
yeah. Well, and just to add to that, today at the farmer's market, Eric Vermillion and Jody Newland were both down there. Had a table up, sit and talk with the city council member. People coming up and talking with them, and us doing stuff like that would be awesome too. I can't tell you how many times I've been hit up in the store already, and tonight's my first time. So it's like, hey, we've got this concern, we've got this, I've got this concern, and so. Getting out there and talking to the public at large and, communicating with our city council would be, incredible for us. So we need to all support each other, because, it is a small town and. Things that affect one body affects the other body, and it kind of all crosses over and this, that, and the other, and so.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Are we in the
Board
board
comment.
comment section?
Yes, I'm on the board comments next. Yes,
I just wanted to say welcome to our new board members,
Yes.
and I also wanted to say at the risk of being permanent. Wow, Tony, what happened? Where you been? You look like you just got back from Phoenix.
My wife, I've been fortunate to be with this, time in Hawaii each summer. So.
Well, I thought we were trading places a little bit, because I also noticed that I got facial hair kind of coming in. What's going on? Anyway, I did want to say, actually, just two quick things that I think I would agree with Neil that maybe it's a good time to re-examine the construction excise tax, but I would also reiterate at the same time that I am pretty much vehemently opposed to increasing construction excise taxes on commercial construction. But that's just me. I mean, it's something that the board needs to talk about, and the board needs to come to a decision about, not me. It's not about my opinion. And I would agree that that would be a good discussion to have. And the last thing I just want to say is, over the last 2 months, I've been out of town, out of the state, about a month's worth of time, and that made me really appreciate what we have here, how wonderful the people are, the community is, the weather is. Goodness, what I've been through the last few weeks. It's a really special place. We've got our challenges certainly, but it's a great place to be, and I'm glad to be back.
well, Rob, do you have anything you want to share for a board comment?
Just want to say thank you guys for this opportunity.
Well,
And
we're glad
thank
to
you,
have you.
thank you to the public that voted for me. I'm looking forward to this, and if it goes all wrong, blame Scott Kaiser, because he's the one that forced me to do this.
Well, I think he knows what he's doing. Okay, Amy, you want to say? Okay, yeah, Neil.
Yeah, couple of things. One again, welcome, Rob. Thank you, great to have you on board. Second, I want to again say to the public, thank you to all the citizenry that's working very hard in our district. The dozens and dozens of them that are serving, whether it be the bond committee, the groups that are working with all of the sports organizations, continuing to work together in supporting that, and especially the strategic planning group that put hundreds and hundreds of man hours in to working on and developing this plan. The second thing I want to throw up, and again, Amy was there, so kind of speaking to Rob's point related to the challenge that the board of the product district put out was the open house host of board-to-board relationships. And we're hoping either the school district or city will take on the next project, as we did the last one, but just those, you know, the board-to-board relationship, executives. And I know the aquatic district's committed to that. If no one else hosts, we will do it again, but the hope would be is that in the spirit of working together, that we learn more about one another when we're literally going to someone else's home, so to speak, and understanding the culture of their room from where they sit. And so I will just throw that out. I would hope that we, as a school district, kind of live up to that as well. As Rob said, there's nothing but positive things to be gained from working together.
So we should go visit the aquatic center.
No, that's,
No,
I
okay,
was referring to an event that was in the past where all boards were invited to meet together.
and nobody showed.
Oh, yeah, Amy was there, Craig was there,
Craig was there, okay.
two or three, two city councilors were there.
Oh, good. Okay,
Maybe a chamber of commerce. Meeting with them.
yeah.
That on there as well. And you can kind of have everybody working and.
Have been any traction on getting Tony's annual review. Finished it, proposed, we'll do it in 4 years.
We need to get that done.
Yes,
Yeah,
the process.
yeah. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, just keep me on it. Okay. And I want to welcome you to the board. I mean, that's my comment. And now, upcoming meeting, July 25th is a policy meeting. And that will be virtual, so you can get one of those virtual invite. Okay, July 27th, work session, August 10th, business meetings, and I need a motion. Okay. Can you just put it all in favor? Wait around our, okay, it's adjourned. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
Feel like there's a meeting for that.
Oh, yeah.